Alright, so it's the end of the week. It's the end of opening weekend for Avengers, and other people are putting theirs out, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my spoiler review. So, out of the gate, let me say I did enjoy the movie. It's possibly a little more epic than Infinity War, but I think Infinity War was a slightly more engaging movie. The problem I have mainly with Endgame is that it spent so much time trying to tie up all the little storylines for all the individual original characters that it kind of cheapened the overall save the universe thing, which is a weird sounding statement. But I have my handy dandy list and I'm going to tell you what I thought. So, things that we liked, the character arcs. Tony Stark got to face his demons, that issue he's been having since the original Avengers movie about the threat from the stars and whatnot. He finally got to face that and overcome it. Captain America, they've always referred to him as the man out of time, always trying to catch up to what everybody else already knows. So, it's good to see that he got to live that life that he lost out on. Black Widow, finally getting to clear the red out of her ledger, as it were. Thor, even though they did it slightly comedically, I am quite impressed with the character arc they did with Thor. They went with the whole, warrior, broken by guilt and regret kind of thing. And he had to work his way back up. So kudos on the acting on that one. I was actually rather surprised on that one. The plot twist with Thanos coming forward through time instead of the Avengers having to go back in time to fight him, I was actually okay with that. That was actually a good reversal. I was not seeing that coming. The epic battle scenes. I will not shortchange them. They went all out on the battle scenes for this movie. They spared no expense on the CGI for that. So it is grandly epic in scale. And I do like that they left open a plot hole for Loki to show up either in, I think he's got a spin-off series coming up on Disney streaming or whatnot. I don't know if that's supposed to be after this movie or back in time or whatnot. Or if they left it open as a possibility for him to be in Thor number 4 or Guardians 3, since they're all on the same boat now. But according to their own time travel logic in this movie, if they take the stones out or if they move them, they have to return them to the time at which they took them to clear out those alternate timelines. And Loki, as usual, absconded with the Tesseract. So there's an open thread there. I'm looking forward to see with that. We may not have seen the last of Loki. The things that we did not like or we thought could have been done better in this movie, there's a couple of them, and I have to admit most of them kind of do come down to the fact that the movie was it was crammed. I mean, it was 3 hours long and it was busy. But the first thing that we came up with that we thought could have possibly been handled better is it seems almost disjointed. It seems like one short movie and one normal sized movie. So the whole first act where they're trying to find where Thanos went and track him down and then find out what he did with the stones, that almost seems like its own follow-up movie to Avengers. And then they tacked on 5 years later and then started a whole new movie. So that seemed a little bit disjointed. In that 5-year period, there were a few things, actually, also including Captain Marvel, there were a few things that they gave little to no backstory on in this movie and just expected you to roll with it or to have seen the other movies, namely Captain Marvel. So personally, in my opinion, assuming or requiring people to have seen previous movies or TV episodes that go sideline with it, or to read books that get published in between the movies to understand something that's going on in the feature movie is not good writing. I mean, a lot of stuff can be explained with, 10 seconds of flashback or a decently, worked out story. I mean, it can be a paragraph. It can be, a simple explanation of what's going on if it's done right. But Captain Marvel, there was absolutely no explanation as to how she got in this movie if you didn't watch Captain Marvel. The Hulk, he got 2 sentences. Oh yeah, I spent 18 months meditating in a gamma chamber or whatever it was he said. And then they just rolled with it. Honestly, 18 months of the Hulk trying to figure out how to merge 2 different personalities, that could have been its own movie. The whole thing with Hawkeye or Ronin or whoever he's supposed to be in this movie. Yeah, okay, his family got dusted. So did a lot of other people's. and now he's somehow an international assassin. There's something in between those two dots that probably needed to be explained. Next thing, the Hulk. Honestly, the Hulk is normally my favorite character, especially in the ensemble movies. I didn't like him in this one. The Professor Hulk thing, meeting in the middle seems to have taken away from the ends. He didn't seem as smart as Banner in his sciencey bits, and he didn't seem as strong as the Hulk in his hulky bits. It just, playing the middle against the ends doesn't work for that character. It takes something away from the character himself. The whole Jekyll and Hyde thing that he had going on. Next up on our chopping block is Thanos. In Infinity War, Thanos was a intelligent, well-spoken, determined enemy who made plans, who executed with a vengeance, and was a threat to the universe. But he was an understandable threat. You could see his point of view, however misguided you might think it was. And those are honestly the most dangerous people, the ones who think they're right. In this movie, he drops his whole plan basically on a dime. He gets one flash from Nebula being tied to the same temporal Wi-Fi network or whatever it is as her existing person in that time period, and he drops the whole half of everything and decides to destroy everything and start over in like 3 seconds. There's no in between. There could have been a minute or two of him, I don't know, soundboarding, bouncing some ideas off the other children of Thanos or whatever it is that he does, and no, he's just like, that's not gonna work. Okay, let's destroy everything. It kind of cheapened the character. It just turned him into your basic villain of the week from every show ever, basically. Let's see. In the big battle scene at the end of the movie, which, granted, was epic in scale and was a visual spectacle, I will not shortchange that. There were a couple of things that didn't set quite right. First off, yeah, sure, after the snap, or when everybody comes portaling in from everywhere, where the hell did all those wizards come from? Now, don't get me wrong, I know we don't see all of them in the movies, but especially in the Doctor Strange movie, okay, you see like 5 or 6 people who are like up here at the Masters, and you see, you know, in the temple, or at least in the temple that he's at, there's maybe 15, 20 students. You figure there's a couple things around the world. You got maybe 40, 50 people floating around. There was like hundreds of portals opening up and bringing people through. Where were all these wizards in the last movie? We know those portals can cut people in half. Why were these people just not teleporting half of people to out in outer space or something? Little things like that get in my brain. If you don't follow the rules of your own universe, it bothers me. And if there's that many wizards who can even teleport things around, that can make a battle go way different. Anyway, I'm not going to get off on that one. The probably most annoying thing, at least for about the 4 seconds that it lasted, was the blatant, like, woman power moment. Now, don't get me wrong. All throughout the Avengers movies, they have scenes where the guys show up and they have to pose, or, you know, the team assembles and, you know, they give it their war face. And those are usually well scripted. I mean, like, there's a reason that they're all showing up and they're all getting ready to fight. And, you know, it makes sense in the context of the story that you're watching. First off, somehow every female on the battlefield showed up in one spot at the same time somehow. What, did they all teleport? And then second, on top of that, it didn't really make any sense because they handed the gauntlet off to Captain Marvel. Even though like 95% plus of the people in this battle had no idea who Captain Marvel was, they literally just like 2 minutes before saw her flying from outer space, fly through Thanos' ship, knock it out of the sky, and then go toe-to-toe with Thanos wearing the gauntlet and hold her own. When they handed her the gauntlet and all she had to do was fly through some foot soldiers, I got nothing against Okoye, but she's just a person with a vibranium spear. What's she gonna do that Captain Marvel can't? You know, honestly, short of Wanda Maximoff and her ability to manipulate reality, nobody there was going to really assist Captain Marvel in any other way than just staying out of the way. So that scene made no sense. I have no problem with them having their whole, here's the females of Marvel scene or whatnot, but the writing just wasn't there. It was ham-fisted. And that's not something you normally say about a Marvel movie. Formulaic? Maybe. Ham-fisted? Not usually so much. Alright, my last point of contention. At the end, after Captain America goes back in time to take all the little stones back and whatnot, they have that little scene where Captain America just stayed in the past and lived his way forward, and now he's sitting at the bench waiting on him there. And Falcon walks over to him. Now, don't get me wrong, I know they're buds. They've been fighting, they've had a couple movies together. But Captain America literally spent 2 movies fighting the government and becoming a vigilante to defend Bucky Barnes because it was his best friend from the 40s who was also cryogenically frozen or whatever and brought forward in time and had basically the same backstory. And dude doesn't even like walk over and give him a pat on the shoulder and say good to see you before walking off. He just kind of stands there and looks at him and lets Falcon go over there and talk to him. Yeah, I mean, I know they had to pass the shield on and make a new Captain America for the next generation and whatnot, but somehow that just seems wrong. That the dude that he basically split the Avengers for and fought not just the American government, but like the world government or whatever they want to call it in this movie, to keep him out of jail. And the dude doesn't even walk over and say bye or good to see you or whatever. Again, with a little more time to comprehend on it, I'd say still a 9 out of 10. It's a great movie to go see. It's a spectacle. But it has some writing problems. It tends, in its effort to close up the storylines of the individual heroes, especially the ones that contract are ending, they kind of cheapen the storyline of the actual Infinity War. And I don't know. I am no screenwriter. I probably couldn't have done it any better. But it seems like it could have been done better to me. Anyway, that's my spoiler review. Melissa's not feeling well at the moment. She decided to go lay down, so I figured I'd sit here and talk at a camera for a few minutes. So, you guys have fun, like and subscribe. Tell me if you like the whole review thingy, or at least reaction thingy, and I will see you next time.